everybody, Caleb here in the Rosa String Works workshop. Today I've got this old 0018 from Martin. It's in a condition. Playability wise, it's actually pretty good. The action's sitting pretty low, but it's pretty beat up. It's lived a hard life so far. You can see there's a couple of cracks and some breaks, and most of it's all been fixed up to this point. As a matter of fact, almost all of it has been fixed up to this point. What I'm going to start out on is making sure the setup is real good. I know that there's a little bit of a high spot on the frets. We're going to clean the fretboard up. We're going to make sure it's all good and clean, and then we'll see where we go from there. But to get started, I'm going to go ahead and take the strings off of here. They are really old and in deep need of replacement. So I'll set her down and we can get to it. So I've already got the strings off of here, and I've actually already made an antler saddle for this. You can't see it, but it's fitting in the slot. I'm going to work on the frets on this. There's no adjustable truss rod on here, so what I've got is what I've got. And I know that there's kind of a high spot in here, so I'll try to focus on there. Once I get these frets level, I'm going to come back and we're going to clean up the fretboard as well. You can probably tell it's really dirty, so I'll have to clean up this whole fretboard and the headstock a little bit as well. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get started on this fret job, and then we'll take it from there. You can't see what I can see, but I can feel this fret that is high. And yeah, they do fall off up in the higher frets, but there's one that's high in reference to these. There's a high one down here too. I think it's the second one. I'm not pushing hard with this. I'm just barely letting the weight of the file do most of the work, because I don't want to go digging ditches in these frets. Now what I can do is I can look at the frets and see the ones that I've hit, and I know if I've hit them all that I don't have any low frets, I don't have any high frets. And it's looking pretty good. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and crown them. I'll take care of the rest off of camera. I'll crown them and then polish them up, and then we can work on cleaning up the fretboard. So most of the work here is done. I'm just going through now and making sure I get all of the fingernail grooves cleaned up. I've already come through and done most of the frets just to make sure I got all the gunk off of it. It was very, very grimy. So now I'm going through, just making sure I got the fingernail grooves out, or most of it. I'm not going to take all of them out because they're kind of deep, but I'm mitigating them, or at least that's the idea. Alright, I'd say that's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and oil this. I'm going to be using the Be Good wood oil. I'm just going to put a dot there and then use my fingers. Alright, so that's pretty good. So now I'll take a clean cloth and wipe off the excess. I think that's a big improvement over where we started. There's none of that grime on there anymore. It's more of a uniform color. The frets are polished. It's looking really good. So I'm going to take a second and look around this and see what I can think of that we should clean up next. So I've got this spot here that looks like white paint. I've got some really high grit sandpaper that I'm using wet. It's like 1500. And I'm just working that off. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to come up to this crack right here. It's kind of a mess. So I'm going to take the same, just try and smooth it out. It doesn't look so bad, especially on camera, but it definitely doesn't feel great. So I'm going to try to kind of smooth it out. And this 1500 should be able to buff out really easy to match everything around it. So that's a vast improvement, actually. It was really bumpy. It's a lot more smoothed out now. I'm gonna go through and see if there's not a couple other spots that I can't get a little more cleaned up, maybe just smoothed out. I ended up taking the sides and the back to the buffing wheel, and they turned out really good. I'm pretty happy with it. They're a little shinier and they feel a lot better. So I'm ready to start putting strings on here, I think. I've got some GHS phosphor bronze lights I'm going to put on here. I've got all of the bridge pins ready. I'm going to go ahead and get these on here and we'll see what I need to do for setup. Alright, so I think we got this Martin good to go actually. I, off camera, did a couple little touch-ups on finish and they're looking pretty good. The other thing that we did on this was we restuck the tip of this pick guard down, and I just did that with some double stick tape. You know, I was talking to Jerry about it and he really didn't want to go with any glue in there with the finish and the plastic, so I just stuck a piece of double stick tape with the sticky side this way, just underneath there, used a X-Acto knife and really carefully cut just the tape and not the finish so I could pull it out, and then just took the protective cover, which was against the guitar, and pulled it out and stuck it down, and it stuck down really well. You know, you can't even tell that that end had come up. So it's looking really good actually. The action is sitting really nice. It's at less than 80 thousandths on the high E and, you know, just about 90 thousandths on the low E, which is a really good height. It plays really well. I think this thing is good to go. You know, we didn't have to do a whole lot to this, just a little bit of a touch-up. This customer did also send another guitar, which I've already done. I think I'll show it to you just so that it's on camera and we have a little bit of a record of it. So I'll set this aside for Jerry to look at, and I'll show you the other guitar that came along with it. So this is the other instrument that this customer sent in, and it's a Guild. It's a Guild F50 BLD.
It's final inspection time for this Guild guitar, and I think Caleb has done a very nice job on this. When I first played it the first time, it hurt my fingers, and I asked the customer about that, and, you know, talked to him a little bit, and so I asked Caleb to file the frets down. You know, that was what we talked about with the customer. So Caleb went ahead and filed these frets down some more, and, you know, took the tops off quite a bit more to get the strings a little closer to the actual fingerboard, because these were really tall frets, and for me to play it, it honestly hurt my fingers. It feels a lot better now. It's got real good action. Got a real good sound too. And again, this is a maple back and sides. And again, I am not a fan of maple back and sides, but every once in a while you run across a guitar that kind of defies the odds, and this one kind of does that. Say it's exceptionally loud or anything, but it's got a nice clear sound, you know. Doesn't seem to have a lot of cross tones or anything, just real clear. And the action is really good. He did a nice job on getting it to play really low without any buzzing. It's 70 thousandths right here on the bass side, and about 65, 70 on the treble side. So you can't do much better than that on a big acoustic like this thing. So my hat's off to Caleb. He did a great job on setting this thing up. That antler saddle don't hurt nothing on the sound either. So I think he did a good job.
So I hope you enjoyed this little setup on this Martin and a little look at the guild that came with it. If you did enjoy it, a thumbs up would be much appreciated. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 100,000. Thanks for watching.